like, is there enough time? And I've been quietly asking myself, is it drive or is it a mantle? Welcome or welcome back. For those who don't know me, my name is Money and this is Conversations in the Chair, a space where I share different topics about things I'm going through, I've gone through and grown through. A digital journal, so to speak, all in the hopes to encourage and inspire you. This week I'm talking about the subject mantle. And for a while now, I have been feeling like there's this sense of responsibility to make my family name great again. Kind of sound a little bit like a certain US president, but we won't go there. I don't know when this started, but the feeling started to get louder within me middle of last year. At first I thought, oh, maybe it's just this ambitious drive that I've always had. Maybe it's vision. But sometimes it switches to panic. And I find myself asking the question, is there enough time? So a little story time, a little backstory for context. Kinda. When I look back at the women in my family, there are certain things I have noticed. Most never married. One did, but let's just say that wasn't relationship goals. 3 out of the 4 never left the island they were born on. 2 had children out of marriage, and to my knowledge, none took one, but the rest of them didn't take like major significant risks. Like, no shade, please do not get me wrong, no shade, no dishonor. It's just an observation that I have made over the years, that the women that went before me, my aunts, only one of them kind of stepped out and did something different and left the island where they were born, and the others stayed. But I'm the generation behind them. And I've taken risks. I would say I'm a risk taker. For the most part, I'm a calculated risk taker. Don't get me wrong. But when I think back to like my early teenage years, I I started a car wash business as a teenager. That was one of my first businesses. Bucket, sponge, went round the neighbourhood knocking on doors, setting my business fees. And I made money that summer. I made a lot of money that summer. I got my first like official job when I was 14. And back in the day, that was way too young, to the point where you had to actually go and apply for a job permit that had to be filled in and sent back to the local council, so the employer basically giving the employer permission to employ you at that age. I moved into my first property when I was 18. I have travelled to a number of countries around the world and across Europe for business. and taken other quite major significant leaps in my career and personal life. All with my knees knocking, all feeling sick, all being afraid, all being unsure, but I did it anyway. I felt the fear and I did it anyway. So why does something like this feel heavier? Got some notes here that I'm going to keep referring to. The weight of a name. So once upon a time, my family name meant something. It had gravitas. You know, there was this unspoken sense that, you know, coming from, there was this unspoken feeling and almost maybe a sense of pride having the family name. Particularly when I think about my grandfather and who he was in the community and his businesses and his business acumen and his influence in local politics and his work in oil, and my uncle's quite high profile role within the police force. Like, my family name meant something. And, you know, we all more or less look alike, so you can pick us out, you know, if you know who we are. And I kind of noticed over the years that it hasn't got the same. And it's not even about a flex. It's not even that. It's just knowing where I came from, knowing the story, knowing the ambition, knowing the drive, knowing that even the motto of the island where I spent a lot of time on is, if I can remember, aim high. If you know the island I'm talking about, without Googling it, drop the name of the island in the comment section. So I say all that to say, now there is this sense that I'm supposed to restore something. And I've genuinely been asking myself, did heaven put a mantle on me? This isn't normal ambition. Like, I know what ambition feels like. I'm an ambitious person. I'm driven. I'm hardworking. I've been working since I was 14 years old. And I know that this feels different. Sometimes it comes like a surge. Like, boom. It's like, it hits me. And then I'm like, oh God, is there enough time? Do I have enough time to do all the things that kind of runs through my head that I would love to accomplish? And here's an honest fear. I don't all right, without aging myself or yourself, drop a comment in the comment below if you know what I'm talking about. I don't want to get to heaven. Well, I want to get to heaven, but I don't want, when I get to heaven, that this massive like TV screen comes down and if you remember the old game shows that used to come on like the weekend, and it was like The Price is Right and Bullseye, and the screen would come down with all like the flashing lights around it. I don't want, when I get to heaven and the screen comes down and God says, look at what you could have won, and he shows all these things that, you know, I could have done and accomplished. And yes, that would be I'd be annoyed. B, I'd be disappointed, or maybe A, I'd be disappointed and annoyed. But also, it's like, I think part of me would be crushed because I'd be like, there's so much I wanted to accomplish, and in accomplishing all of that, it would have made the family name great again. I would have done what I set out to do, or I feel this need to suddenly do. You know, I think ultimately what I'm saying is I do not want to die with all this potential still wrapped up inside me. In 2 Kings 2, verses 8, 13 to 14, Elijah passes his mantle to Elisha. The mantle represented authority, responsibility, and calling. Elijah didn't ask for fame, he asked for a double portion. So I've been asking myself, has something been passed to me? Or is this simply the awareness that I'm the first woman to break certain cycles? And breaking cycles feels like carrying a weight. Maybe it's not a mantle of pressure. Maybe it's a mantle of permission. Permission to marry well, if you want to marry, to love well, to build well, to risk well, leave a situation when necessary, stay when it's wise, expand the family narrative. Maybe the urgency isn't panic. Maybe it's alignment. I'm going to ask you a question. What did you see growing up that you quietly decided ends with you? Maybe you didn't see healthy marriages. Maybe nobody in your family graduated from university or went to university in order to graduate from university. Maybe nobody owned property. There were no entrepreneurs in your family. There was no emotional safety. And now you feel this subtle responsibility to rewrite the story. Maybe that's not pressure. Maybe that's calling. If it resonates, I want you to do me a favour. In the comments below, write the narrative I'm rewriting and then finish the sentence. Because sometimes the mantle isn't dramatic. It can be quiet, it can be subtle, it can come up within you now and again. And sometimes it's simply courage to do something or do everything differently than what you saw. Maybe the mantle isn't about pressure. I know sometimes I feel this pressure, but maybe it isn't pressure. Maybe it's about permission. I was thinking actually today that I was thinking about something else, but the whole thing about permission came up. For a lot of us, we grew up with, perhaps in your household it was spoken, and in some households it's unspoken. But there is this kind of narrative of you get what you're given and make the most of it, and don't ask for anything, and if you ask, you're probably not going to get it, and you'd probably get in trouble for asking anyway. So then it's almost like now we have to unlearn all of that and give ourselves permission to want more and ask for more and desire more and go for more, and not just go through life on kind of this autopilot with this, not even a soundtrack, but this track that's just playing in the background that we are so used to that we don't give ourselves permissions to kind of just switch it off and throw it, like take the tape out, the tape deck or the CD, depending on your time frame. Take the CD out and throw it and break the record and set your own one and ask for more. Give yourself permission to ask for more. Don't go looking for permission. What is it they say in Suits? Don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness. That apply that, sparingly. But maybe this is about permission. Permission to go further. Permission to love differently. Permission to build what you never saw. Permission to end what hurt you. Maybe you're not carrying something heavy. Maybe you were carrying something sacred. And sacred things aren't rushed, they are stewarded. So if you're also feeling this sense of urgency, I would suggest, like I had to also suggest to myself, that we pause. We don't have to prove we were chosen. We just have to be faithful with what is in our hands, and that's enough. Thank you for watching this episode. Can you do me a favour? Can you please hit the subscribe button? It's free and it's really going to help me out. I'm on a mission this year to grow the channel. Like, comment and share it with someone who could benefit from hearing this or might even enjoy watching it and listening to it. Thank you again for spending time with me, your host, Money, and this has been Conversations in the Chair.